What up, Facebook? Happy Thursday. Can't believe it's Thursday already. That kind of came up fast. Craziness. Time just seems to be just flying by. Not a bad thing, though. So, welcome. We'll wait a few moments for somebody to join. Hey, Danny. How's it going? As some of you are joining in here, as usual, I'd love to hear some check-ins from you. How your week is going. Sorry, getting situated here. How your week is going. Some of the things you've been struggling with. Some of the things that are working really well this week. Would love to hear some updates from you all. I guess I could give some of those too, as I normally kind of sit here and awkwardly talk to myself until more people join. Some of the things that I'm doing better this week is, as I've kind of talked about in the weeks past, kind of keeping a little bit more of a structure for myself at home. I am still lucky enough to be able to work from home. And even while I've been at home too, still kind of making a schedule, somewhat of a loose schedule for myself. Making sure I get my workouts in, making sure I'm sitting down and doing time for emails and phone calls and all that fun jazz. But what I was noticing in the past couple weeks is that schedule was getting a little bit rigid at times. And when I wasn't able to keep up with that, I was getting very frustrated. So the past week and a half or so, I have tried to be a little more flexible with my schedule. Still kind of making, getting the bones of things, kind of getting, that rough outline of the things that I know I must get done today. But not being so rigid about them, being able to just kind of be a little bit more loose, let the day kind of flow, just kind of let it flow naturally. And if things came up throughout my day that I didn't plan, like certain people call, or hey, you want to FaceTime, or hey, you want to do this, yep, sure, let's do it. Just kind of doing that, and that's just allowed me to be, while it has been a challenge to let go and kind of go with the flow. That has allowed me to be less stressed and more just kind of feeling that easy going. And it's really just kind of taken a load off my shoulders, because when I'm placing all these crazy expectations on myself to have this and this done all throughout my day with these rigid time structures, you know what I mean? Like, I'm just stressing myself out running around trying to get them done. So that's some of the things that I've been doing a little bit differently to just kind of ease some stress on myself. And as I've shared, you're gonna figure out different things as you go along each day and each week, what's working well, what isn't working well. So just really paying attention to that for yourselves. And you're gonna have to modify day by day and week by week, and that's okay, right? Everything we're kind of doing right now is this trial and error period of figuring out what works and what doesn't. So I hope that you all are staying flexible as well and able to shift and change gears when you need to and kind of go with the flow of your day. So that's my little check-in on some things that I've changed up. Hey Jake, how's it going? All right. So we are going to jump right in. So I'm going to mix things up today, and I actually did this a couple weeks ago, but we're going to pop back in and do it today. So this is 3-2-1 Thursday. So I'm going to write the instructions into the chat here. So the ideas, 2 quotes, and 1 question. So this is from James Clear. He kind of does his own newsletter and puts out the 3-2-1 Thursday. It's just something kind of cool he does. So I kind of adopted that a couple weeks ago. Sounds like Nellie's having some technical difficulties. I'm sorry to hear that. I'm not 100% great with tech support. Wish I could help you out there. Not sure why you're not able to hear any sound. Maybe reach out to some different people, message them, maybe put out a general message on Facebook to see if anybody is good with tech support. Sorry about that. So we're going to jump right in today, and this was kind of my take home for you, is to do your own 3-2-1 Thursday. So maybe you're quarantined with your family or your friends or your significant others, so maybe it's something you can do together. Kind of come up with your own 3-2-1 Thursday. So the idea is you come up with 3 ideas of anything, 2 quotes from somebody else, and 1 question. And that can be a question for yourself. It can be a question that you pose to other people. So again, I always encourage you all to, engage in these little take homes that, all of us at Rock Recovery are giving you to do. You know what I mean? It's one thing to just sit here and spend your time listening and spending, the half an hour engaging and connecting with us, which is great, but if you can actually do some of these take homes, they're worthwhile. It's really spending your time doing something that's meaningful, and you know what I mean. It just kind of gets you outside of yourself and outside of the little funk that we all get in every now and then. So I really encourage you to continue to do these things on your own at home, and do them with your loved ones too. So the 3, 2, 1, I'm going to go through the ones that I picked out today. We'll just kind of talk about them, and then please feel free to comment. As always, I always encourage you guys to be open and honest and vulnerable and respectful with each other on here. But yeah, feel free to comment in any of these. Even if you want to come up with some of your own, you can kind of post them in the chat right now. That would be awesome. All right, so 3, 2, 1 Thursday. So we're going to start with 3 ideas. And again, some of these, I've as all ideas, right? All of our ideas have at least been adopted or adapted from somewhere or someone else in time, and maybe we kind of change the wording a little bit to make them our own. So feel free to take these any way that you would like to. So the first idea I'm thinking of today, I was thinking about to encourage people to plan a trip for a midweek break. For those of you who are working at home, I'm noticing that it's very different working from home, right? Because we're not leaving the house. You know what I mean? There's just this. Our brains aren't functioning how they normally would when we're able to leave the house and get out and get in that normal routine that our brain knows of getting up and going to work and doing the things, right? So sometimes being, in that situation where all we're doing is working from home like day after day after day for like 6 or 7 hours a day, that's just not feasible enough for our brains to do it that way this time. So that's why I'm encouraging you all to experiment, trial and error. So I was kind of thinking of the idea of today of like breaking up your week a little bit, like maybe instead of just waiting for the weekend to be the weekend, you can put a Saturday in the middle of your week, swap your Wednesday for your Saturday, something like that. Just to kind of mix things up, right? To kind of keep things fresh, to kind of get yourself out of the house and, break up your routine a little bit and add a little bit of joy and adventure and fun in your week as safely as possible, of course. So the first idea is to encourage you to plan a trip for your midweek break. Maybe you can make a fun road trip with people you're quarantined with. Maybe you're by yourself and you want to take a solo road trip. That's something that I've often done in the past. I would love driving around, just not really having a destination, not really having a time frame, but just putting on some good tunes and I've got my coffee with me and just kind of setting out on that little loner adventure, and wherever I end up, I end up. So I encourage you to maybe plan something for the middle of next week, or even for today or tomorrow. Switch it up before you get to the weekend. Can you make a fun road trip with people that you're with, or yourself? Bring all the good snacks in the car. Maybe make a special playlist on your Pandora or your Spotify or whatever music you use. Maybe you can make a special playlist just for that trip. I know singing in the car and crazy music is always something kind of fun that keeps things lighthearted and going. And also, you can stop every little bit so long your trip and do some road trip fitness. If you all tune in later to our brain and body gains video, Coach Lisa is going to be kind of putting out kind of a road trip workout for you. So that's something you can kind of do to stop along the way of your trip to make it fun. Maybe you're kind of out and about with your kids. Maybe there's somewhere you wanna go hike that's kind of off the beaten path and off the grid a little bit. So make it a day, plan for it. Plan snacks, plan a picnic. Again, doing that in a safe way where we're still being responsible and staying away from others when we're seeing them out there. But you know what I mean? Just something fun to look forward to and break up your week a little bit. So, plan something for today or plan something for the middle of your week next week. You know what I mean? I think it's important for us to, even during this time, still plan things that we can look forward to, right? Things that we can still get excited about. So the second idea of today is, and I've been guilty of this too. I think a lot of us sometimes right now, I guess I should only speak for myself. So I'm somebody right now, and maybe some of you can relate. But sometimes we joke with our friends about the struggles of our life, right? And while that's okay to do and to keep things lighthearted, sometimes I joke around of like I'm failing at life right now. You know what I mean? Like A lot of people are expressing to me like, oh, I'm just eating constantly, my eating's off, I'm gaining weight, I'm living in sweatpants for 5 days in a row, like, oh, I'm just failing at life, like, I just put my, I just tried to, I don't know, take the garbage out and put it in the fridge instead of putting it in the garage, you know what I mean? Just the silly kind of things we go through, right? And while sometimes we kind of get in that joking with our friends and our coworkers and our family of I'm failing at life, my second idea for the day is to smash that feeling. And there's nothing wrong with joking around that and being lighthearted, but I really want to encourage you to look at that idea, right? I'm failing at life, and really ask yourselves, what does that mean? What does that look like for you when you kind of joke around and say, like, I'm screwing up or I'm failing at life, like I don't know what day it is anymore. This quarantine's making me feel crazy. This quarantine's just throwing me off my game. I really want to encourage you to look inside and look at what that really is for yourselves. Are you really failing at life? Or are you doing the best you can given these extenuating circumstances right now, right? As we talk about constantly, like this pandemic is affecting all of us. And I'm very much one that's very quick to push that away. Like, oh, I have so many things to be grateful for. So many people have it so much worse. There are people who don't even know where their next meal is going to come from. I shouldn't be complaining. But that's not being kind to myself. That's placing an expectation on myself. Um, and so I'm really working on being compassionate with myself. I'm not staying stuck in that woe is me victim mindset, but this does affect me too. This does affect my daily life too. And it's okay to grieve that, right? We're all in this grieving process right now. Um, and really recognizing that, like I'm grieving the way I was living before, my productive life. And while I'm still doing that productive life now, it looks a lot different. It's inconvenient. I try not to stay in that mindset, but giving myself a little bit of grace too and understanding that this is affecting my day too. Um, and while I do, like I said, continue to joke around with friends, like, oh, I'm failing at life, or what the heck is life right now? Like, what is happening? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not. Being gentle and kind with ourselves and looking at that, looking at the circumstances right now and having grace and kindness for ourselves. And you're like, you know what? I'm not failing at life. I'm doing the best that I can with the resources that I am given right now, and I'm just trying to make the most of it. And there are days where I do really well at that, and there are days where I do not do so well at that. But that's okay, right? So that's the second idea today of just smash the I'm failing at life joke. You know what I mean? Again, just kind of looking at that self awareness and giving yourself a little bit of grace and compassion today for that. The third idea today is to um, what are you doing to kind of make people smile? I was listening to a podcast the other day, and it was talking about, you know, there are a lot of people in a situation right now who are feeling very helpless, and maybe that's you, and maybe it's not an everyday thing, but maybe there are days where you feel helpless. Um, maybe there are days where you're feeling hopeless. You know, I get that. We're all kind of experiencing these ups and downs and different emotions and different thoughts all the time. But what he was saying in the podcast, for the people that feel hopeless, even the people that are really struggling right now and don't know where their next meal is going to come from, don't know how they're going to pay their bills, any of that stuff, for people who don't even have a house right now, he says one way we can turn that around, every single one of us, one way we can turn that around, even for a little bit of time, is seeing where we can be helpful, right? I'm not necessarily, you know, feeling helpless is a feeling, right? It doesn't mean I'm actually helpless. So what we can do in that time is, what can you do to be helpful? If you're stuck in that mindset of, I'm feeling like there's no hope, I'm feeling completely helpless, can you turn that around for 5 minutes, right? And can we challenge ourselves to, what can I do to be helpful? And he was saying there's all different ways we can do that. And sometimes all we have to offer other people is maybe just a listening ear, right? Maybe someone just really needs somebody to talk to on the phone. Maybe someone just passing by on the street or in the store really just needs a smile and a wave, right? We talked about yesterday, that person standing on the corner begging for change right now. I'm not saying give in to that and just go handing out money, but, oftentimes we just kind of look away and we're like, oh my goodness, please don't make eye contact. Maybe that person needs just a smile and a wave, right? So just really being mindful of that. So that third idea of today is, what can you do to make people smile? What I'm noticing a lot of people doing lately is writing handwritten letters. I don't know about you if you've ever received a handwritten letter, but there's just something so wonderful and nostalgic about reading or receiving a handwritten letter in the mail. It makes me smile. My mom and I were writing letters back and forth for like a little less than a year, and there was no time constraint. We would just kind of write to each other every couple weeks whenever we had the opportunity. And she lives like 8 minutes down the road from me. You know what I mean? So we can have our conversations in person, but this allowed us to connect on a deeper level. And there really was just something so special about, like, I don't know about you, but I don't really like checking my mail. Sometimes I avoid checking my mail, which is not a very healthy habit. Oftentimes it's bills or grocery store flyers and crap I just throw in the recycle bin. So checking the mail is not very exciting. But when we look in the mail and receive a handwritten letter from somebody, like, I don't know about you, but that just kind of brightens my day and warms my heart a little bit. So if you've ever had the joy of receiving, think about what that felt like and think, could you give that to somebody else? Could you get outside of yourself for 20 minutes while you handwrite a letter and mail it to somebody? Just because we are feeling hopeless does not mean we are helpless. So really engaging, and if all that ever does for you, even if you're in a state of complete hopelessness, if all that does is get you outside of yourself and feeling better for 5 minutes, then hey, that's a win right there. All right, so moving on to number 2. So in our 3, 2, 1. So number 2 is actually 2 quotes from other people. So I'm going to read you the quotes that I picked today. So this first quote is from Elizabeth Edwards on Resiliency. So she says, "Resilience is accepting your new reality, even if it's less good than the one you had before. You can fight it. You can do nothing but scream about what you've lost. Or you can accept that and try to put together something that's good." And I just love that. Resiliency is something that, especially during a time like this, we really need to hang on to. Realizing that, we can bounce back, and that, we can, sometimes it takes getting knocked down a couple times before we get back up, but, just being resilient anyways and still getting back up, right? So we can fight our reality right now. We can complain about it. We can accept that it's affecting each one of our lives, and we can allow ourselves to feel that grief right now, right? Because this is, like I was saying earlier, this is a loss for all of us. We're all grieving in some way. So we can allow ourselves to feel through that. But then what we can do to move forward is just really accept the situation, accept our reality right now, and we can try to put something that's good, right? We can still try to move forward in a way. So I just love that quote about being resilient. The second quote of the day that I picked is from Carolyn Birmingham. And Carolyn says, "A smile starts on the lips, a grin spreads to the eyes, a chuckle comes from the belly, but a good laugh bursts forth from the soul, overflows, and bubbles all around." And I just love that. I think it's so important for us to, maintain a sense of humor and laughter and lightheartedness in all situations in life. And sometimes the situation's not always appropriate for it, but I truly believe that maintaining a sense of humor and not taking every little thing so seriously is such an important thing for all of us humans to remember, right? Sometimes we need that laughter. And I think laughter can be so contagious sometimes. Have you ever, maybe you're having a conversation with a friend or a group of friends, and I don't know, whatever it is was just so funny, but like, that deep laughter you get sometimes where it's just contagious and it's nonstop, and then everybody else gets going laughing, and then like that makes you laugh even more, and it's like full bellyache laughter, like out loud, ugly snorting laughs sometimes. Those are the best, in my opinion anyways. Those are, I can think of, I see Kirsten's on here, so I have a lot of those with her. There was a time where we were doing a repair underneath her car, and all we had was shoestrings to tie on whatever was falling, and here we are at night, both laying under this car with the car like right here on our faces, and it was just nonstop laughter, and I don't even know what we were laughing at, but it was just like this full belly, like contagious nonstop laughter, and it was just one of those special silly moments that I hang on to, and even now when I think about it, it kind of makes me chuckle a little bit, right? And we need those moments in life. We need that contagious laughter sometimes, especially during really dark and challenging times like this. So if you can find laughter throughout your days, And if you can make other people laugh, whether it's you're telling jokes or whatever it is, if you can maintain that lightheartedness a little bit in every day, um, I think that helps us get through with a little bit more ease, right? Or even if you can recall those moments, like I just recalled one for me, but even if you can recall moments that maybe you have with other people in your life where it was just this nonstop laugh fest, and it really brightened your day. Even just recalling that and just kind of closing your eyes and being, you can even do like a little meditation, just kind of sitting with that and bringing that memory back to mind. And it kind of puts a smile on your face, right? And that smile can be contagious. It can just be overflowing in it, and that's what I love about that quote. And she says, a good laugh bursts forth from the soul, overflows and bubbles all around, and I think spreads to other people too. So if we can spread that joy, that silliness, that laughter throughout our days, then we're all kind of better off. All right, and we're down to the one of the 3, 2, 1. So the one is a question. So this is the question I actually took from James Clear, who does the 3, 2, 1 newsletter of his. I actually borrowed his from the day to give him credit for that. So his question was, what is something that feels productive to you in the moment, but usually ends up wasting time and energy? It was a really good one. I'm going to read that one more time. What is something that feels productive to you in the moment, but usually ends up wasting time and energy? Oof, I had a lot of things pop up for me for that one. So I kind of wrote down, so when I start work for the day, and more so it's like, I guess I would, maybe I didn't notice it as much in normal life as I do now trying to work from home. But there's times where I sit down to work and I have like all these different tasks. Like, all right, I know I have to call this person back. I know I have to document this. I know I have to check all my emails. I know I have to write this thing up. I know I have to do this, and this. So all of a sudden I've got like 10 or a dozen or so tasks in my head that I know I need to do. And while in the moment I start trying to tackle a whole bunch of these tasks at one time, like I'm half writing emails, I'm half checking emails, I'm half Googling this thing over here, I'm half getting ready stuff for Facebook Live, I'm half texting people, calling this person. While it feels like in the moment that I'm being productive because I'm multitasking, right? What I'm realizing is that is wasting a lot of time and a lot of energy. Holy goodness gracious, right? So, I think about that when I worked at the restaurant, and I was very much able to just multitask like crazy. Like I'd be answering the phones and cutting dessert and boxing up to-go orders and writing stuff down, and I would just kind of thrive in that chaotic environment and the fast pace of it all. Like I just love it, right? And I was able to multitask very well, you know. But now, like in my daily life, when I'm trying to multitask and do all these different things at once, my brain is so scattered, it's everywhere. I don't know if any of you can relate to this, you know. But what I realize is that when I'm putting all my time and my energy and my thought and my focus into 10 different activities, that focus is split up, right? The focus is very split up and all over the place. And while we think we are good at multitasking, and sometimes we think multitasking can be a good thing, it actually can at times be wasted time and energy, you know? But if I am focusing on one task at a time, and if I'm giving it my all, my 100% best, all my time, all my energy, I'm able to do that task, and I'm able to do it well, and probably a lot faster as opposed to adding 10 more tasks onto that one, right? So just kind of being aware of that, right? Like where are you putting your time and energy? Are you honestly trying to do 50 different things at once? Or can you slow down for a minute? Can you focus on that one task at hand and complete it and do it well? And then move on to the next task. And sometimes writing lists, if I've got 20 of those different tasks to do, maybe I need to write them down. I have a friend who showed me how to kind of prioritize those things. Like dump everything that's going on in here out onto a piece of paper. Write it down so it's right in front of me. And then from there, I'm able to kind of look at that list and figure out, okay, what's priority and what are some of these tasks that I can do very quickly. Some of them might just take a couple of minutes. And then there are some tasks that maybe take a little bit longer, like half an hour to an hour. So if I dump everything out of here, I can first of all relax and feel a little less stressed out. You know what I mean? Because I don't know about you guys, but there's times where I'm like always trying to remember something. I'm like, oh, I got to do this. Oh, I got to do that. And then I'll forget about it. So once I think about those things, like as they come up throughout my day, I can write them down on a little to-do list. And then from there, it's much easier to organize and see, like, all right, like what's priority, what needs to get done right now, and what are, which ones can I do really quickly that take less time, and which are ones that I'm going to need to dedicate more of my afternoon to. And realizing that that is much more productive than me trying to do 20 things at one time. So I did, again, I borrowed that question from James Clear. So that is the 3-2-1 Thursday. So those are my 3 ideas I gave to you all. I shared 2 quotes with you, and I shared a question to go out to you too. So again, I really encourage you to kind of have a little bit of fun with this at home. Write your own 3-2-1 newsletter. I kind of wrote up farther in the comments that it's 3 ideas, 2 quotes, and 1 question. So that's something kind of fun that you can do with, family members or whoever you're staying with, or even just for yourself. Again, just something to kind of keep you busy, and again, something a little bit fun and lighthearted. So I thank you all for joining me today. Just reading some comments here. I'm not sure why the video would be muted every time you guys come on here. Well, if there's something that I'm doing wrong with Facebook Live, please feel free to private message us. I'm also not so great with some of the Facebook stuff here, so I'm not sure why people are having some difficulties with the videos. That could be on my end too, so I apologize if that's something that I'm doing wrong. But anyways, I thank you all for tuning in today. As always, if you missed half the video and you want to go back and hear my rambling nonsense, good news is these videos all save, so you can go back to our Rock Recovery Fitness Facebook page and find all of our videos on there. We also have our videos being uploaded to our Rock Recovery Fitness YouTube channel, which is awesome. So I have posted the link to that in the description to today's video. And we are still doing all of our other virtual videos, so I really encourage the rest of you to kind of do check-ins with those, and just kind of have fun with the videos. Let it be something fun that kind of occupies your time and gets you out of that negative mindset for a little bit. So I hope that you can continue to watch everybody else's videos. Our other Rock Recovery crew just puts out some really great stuff on here, so I hope that you all are enjoying that as much as I am. We are still offering our peer services, so please, if you're struggling, if you're struggling, or if you got somebody else who's struggling and, could use our peer support, or if you just need somebody to talk to, please reach out. Please don't hesitate. We're here for you guys every day, as much as we can be. So our phone number for our peer services line is 585-622-4975. And you can also Facebook message us or email us. So, we want to hear from you. So thank you guys for tuning in. I hope everybody's hanging in there, and I will check in with you all tomorrow. All right, guys, have an awesome day. Bye.